2023 had over 200 Steelbook releases. I have over half of them, and I have whittled those down to my top 10 favorites of the year. For the next 5 days, I will be giving each entry their own separate video and giving you a little reason why I chose the way I did. So leading up to my number 10 choice, I want to give you a little story. When the news was first released that Disney shows and movies were actually hitting physical media, it made the mainstream news. And with all the streaming services taking away content, it's nice to actually have it physically in your collection. This release of Loki was pretty nice. On a personal note, I am so happy to have the movie Prey in my collection. This was in my top 20 Steelbooks, but it didn't crack the top 10. Instead, my number 10 favorite Steelbook of the year, I think encapsulates the show perfectly on Steelbook. It's WandaVision. The artwork on this is phenomenal. It does a great job showcasing how Wanda's life really wants to be as opposed to how it actually is. On the back cover, we get more of that mindset with also more of like the reality ripping, which I absolutely love the way it looks. On the inside, we get some nice illustration on the disc artwork. And on the inside, we get a great shot from the show in the 2000s era. And if that weren't great enough, it contains 3 art cards. And this artwork from Attila Sarska looks absolutely phenomenal. WandaVision gets the number 10 spot. What's going to be number 9 and number 1? Stay tuned, because this shelf is going to get full real quick. Number 9 is kind of a shock to me, but not really. It's one of my guilty pleasure movies, and when it got announced for a Steelbook, I was absolutely floored. I love collecting physical media, and in particular, boutique labels. One of my favorite boutique labels out there going right now is Vestron Video. This is their first Steelbook release, and I'm hoping it's the first of many. Here's Stephen King's Maximum Overdrive. This movie is dumb fun, and I have a fun time watching it anytime I do. The front cover on this sucker, oh my god, it just pops. Love me that Green Goblin semi. Just looks so good. I already owned this exact same Vestron Video release, but I knew I needed to upgrade it to Steelbook. This is the first horror movie I ever watched, so it definitely holds a soft spot in my heart. Here's the disc artwork of the Steelbook. And I love how on the inside they go back to its original poster artwork. That is so haunting and terrifying, and that's what I remember renting as a kid. I maybe own like a third of the Vestron Video titles, but if they're going to re-release these on Steelbook format, I cannot wait to collect all of them. And congratulations to Lionsgate and Maximum Overdrive for making the number 9 spot. This will not be the last time you see Lionsgate on this list. There's still a lot of space to fill up here. My number 8 release is important in a lot of different ways. Number 1, it's my favorite movie of 2023. Number 2, its physical media release was an event, and it's selling like hotcakes, and the director loves collecting physical media, and that means a lot to me. If you haven't guessed it by now, prepare to have your mind blown. My 8th favorite Steelbook of the year is Oppenheimer. To me, this picture screams a million words, and to have this picture just flow over the entire Steelbook, I think it looks immaculate. But what really cemented this in my top 10 is an element that not a lot of US Steelbooks have done this year. It's the debossing in the title. It helps that sucker pop so much. I'm also a lover of filling every single nook and cranny on your physical media release with art, including the discs. The discs look amazing here. And I love how this disc in particular mirrors the picture of what's going on in the inside artwork. The sucker sold out so quickly. I'm very happy to have my hands on it. I've heard that they are reprinting it, so keep your eyes peeled. It won't be a Best Buy exclusive this time. I'll get more to that later on in this series. But here is 10, 9, and 8. The shelf is filling up, but it still has a lot of room to grow. Stay tuned for number 7 next. There have been a lot of great movies that have came out this year. I've been lucky enough to see a good chunk of them in movie theaters. This movie was probably my favorite movie-going experience of the year. Now, I was so very close to having this as my number 7 choice, the John Wick Stash Book. Packaging-wise, hands down, it's amazing. But we're not rating packaging here, we're rating Steelbooks, and if I'm being honest, the Steelbooks, they're fine, but they're not top 10 worthy. There were 2 different versions of John Wick Chapter 4 to get the Steelbook treatment. I could have picked the 4K route, because this artwork is phenomenal. The Artist Z shoe is actually on one of my episodes of Boutique Talk. Go watch it, because we had a great interview. But for my number 7 choice, I went the Blu-ray Steelbook route of John Wick Chapter 4. To me, this artwork just spoke to me a little bit more. The oil paint aesthetic that they chose on here, man, this sucker pops. And while the front is great, you pan over to the back, and dear Lord, this just looks haunting. John Wick is on a mission. You can tell he means business. But what really sets this release over the top as opposed to the 4K one are the art cards that are included inside. Artist Alice X. Shane did an amazing job on every single one of these pieces, and honestly, any of these could have been on the Steelbook and I would have been a happy camper. They are all beautiful works of art. And that amazing artwork is also on the inside art as well. They also put a fun little Easter egg on the inside of the slipcover, for Christ's sakes, come on! Lionsgate has been consistently coming out with amazing Steelbook releases. So I'm very happy to say that John Wick Chapter 4 is the number 7 Steelbook of the year. My number 6 favorite Steelbook of the year is coming from a company that doesn't get the appreciation I think they deserve, and they've come out with some phenomenal Steelbook releases this year. And that company is Mill Creek Entertainment. One that's in my top 20 but didn't crack the top 10 is Lords of Dogtown. There are just so many little touches in this sucker, like the silver pops, how the disc looks like a skateboard wheel, and I love how they gave this movie a Steelbook release in the first place. They also came out with a Steelbook release for Miami Vice, which comes with an unrated director's cut of the film that I've heard is very good. But my number 6 favorite Steelbook of the year is a prequel to my favorite movie of all time, and that is The Thing, folks. They gave this movie the slipcover treatment, and boy howdy does this sucker look so nice. But just wait until you see the goodies inside the slipcover. The artwork on this front cover is just absolutely stunning. I could not put it lower on my list. I love the way that the spine looks on this sucker, some very atmospheric shots on the back cover. The inside of the disc is a nice frosty thing. And then on the inside we have some more atmospheric illustrations. I have not seen this movie yet, but with a release like this, how can I not? And it has definitely earned its spot as the 6th favorite Steelbook of the year, in my opinion. Here is 6 through 10. We're halfway done, folks. And my number 5 choice, there's really not a good reason that I own this movie, because I already own this movie multiple times, but I picked it up specifically because the Steelbook looks so amazing. This isn't the first time I've done this either. I own multiple copies of the same movie just because the artwork looks amazing. But normally I just do this for movies that I really enjoy. This next movie I own 3 different times. I have it in the Halloween Complete Collection, and I have it on 4K in this 678 set. But when I saw how beautiful this Steelbook looked for Halloween H2O, I knew I needed it in my collection. Lionsgate was the pioneer to adding art to slipcovers, but this Paramount one looks pretty dang good. But not only does the front cover art look phenomenal, the back cover is looking just as fierce. Loving Michael Myers coming down the stairway in the inside artwork, but I hate how it only comes with a 4K disc. Which is another 2023 trend that I could talk a lot about more. I might make a separate video on it, because why are they doing this? But if we are strictly going off Steelbook design alone, I could not have this in the top 10. And in fact, it's going at number 5. There were over 200 Steelbook releases in 2023, and I'm whittling those down to my top 10! And with this installment, let's talk some Steelbook sets. Because there were some absolute stunners that came out this year, including this Superman 5 film collection, this cool looking Transformer set from Paramount, and a couple of great looking Steelbook sets from Lionsgate, including this Twilight Saga set. And for packaging alone, this stash book for John Wick chapters 1 through 3 is absolutely phenomenal. But the set that has taken the number 4 spot doesn't come in a fancy box set like this or that or a lot of these other ones, which normally I'd look down upon, but the artwork on this just looks so good. The set that's taken the number 4 spot for me are these amazing horror franchise lines from Lionsgate. The one that I immediately bought day 1 was for the Blair Witch Project and Blair Witch. I love how the artwork on these looks similar, and I have quotes from the movie on the inside behind the discs, but still look interesting enough in their own right that if you only enjoyed one of these franchises, you could just pick up one of them and be totally happy. The artist agency We Are Bond did a phenomenal job on these releases. And I love how the artwork looks a tad bit weathered on the back as well. Showing all of their spines lined together looks so nice. This entire line is getting the number 4 spot, and here is what 4 through 10 look like. Top 3 coming up. The release that's taking my number 3 slot, I am most excited for its future because the packaging really blew me away. This year in the US, we got our first official Fabello release. You might be saying to yourself, this is a Steelbook list, Jake, what's a Fabello gotta do with this? Well, let me tell you, Fabello over here is an offshoot of Steelbooks. They've had a couple of releases already outside of the US. Here's a Sergio Leone 3-pack. And I already own 3 copies of the Babadook, but I had no idea they made a Fabello of this, and I want this so bad. Let me show you why I love Fabello so much. My number 3 Steelbook release of 2023 is this gorgeous looking Sleepy Hollow 4K. You pick this sucker up and you're like, dang, this is a very high quality release. It also has more weight and heft to it than a normal Steelbook. That's because it comes with an entire book inside of it. And it would make sense that the story inside of Sleepy Hollow is The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. On the inside, we have a pretty cool looking image with some nice padding on here so that the disc doesn't get hurt. The book has something soft to slam onto. I like this release a lot. And I'm really excited to see where Fabellos go from here. Back in the day, Target had these exclusives that had the storybook inside of their Blu-rays. But when I first saw this concept, my brain immediately went to putting issues of comic books inside of Marvel and DC movies. This Sleepy Hollow Fabello is number 3. Here is 3 through 10. We have the top 2 left. What's going to take those spots? There are a couple doozies. Stay tuned, people. And at my number 2 spot, it's going to go to the company that I think is putting out the most consistent work, and that's Lionsgate. Because anytime they come out with a release, your jaw just drops. They put so much love and care into each and every one of their releases, try to innovate and make it unique every single time. I, for one, appreciate that. And even if you own the movie a couple of times, you're still tempted to pick it up just because the artwork looks so phenomenal. And just the wide variety of movies that get the Steelbook treatment from them are utterly amazing. I did not think Warm Bodies would ever get a Steelbook, and look how amazing it looks. I absolutely love it. It's putting out movies that more people need to talk about. I absolutely love The Wicker Man. And this 4K Steelbook for it almost cracked the top 10. This is my number 12. But the release that truly blew me away and is my number 2 Steelbook of the year is Crank. Crank is definitely a fun movie, but it's wholly unique in the way it was shot. Why don't you take the slipcover off and reveal the total madness that artist Dodley put onto this physical media release. Oh my good golly gosh, I am in shock every time I look at it. If you zoom in really close, you can see that his ribs look like needles attacking his heart. And key elements from the movie are in here, like bullets and the CPR pads and a waffle iron. And just the drastic difference in between the front and the back cover, good God. Loving the stylized shots from the movie he put in his own art style on the discs. And the inside art looks like something out of a fever dream that I never want to wake up from. This first pressing sold out pretty quickly. Hopefully they do a repressing soon, because I want as many people as possible to own my second favorite Steelbook of 2023. Alright folks, that's 9 down, 1 more to go. What is going to take the top spot? Find out shortly. Spoilers, it's not a US release. What is it? There were a lot of amazing Steelbook releases that came out in 2023. Here are my number 10 through 2 picks. Let me show you some honorable mentions now. RLJE Films came out with a lot of Steelbooks as Walmart exclusives. Here is Bone Tomahawk. This movie might not be the greatest, but Winnie the Pooh Blood and Honey on Steelbook from Scream Factory, I had to pick it up and I'm so happy I did. I absolutely loved the movie Talk to Me, and having Umbrella Entertainment make an awesome premium set for it is pretty dang cool. Hopefully they make more of these Steelbook sets in the future. Let's go back to Scream Factory and look at this amazing artwork that they put on the They Live 4K. And this iconic shot from the film that they used for the inside art. I've never seen a single episode of Star Trek Strange New Worlds, but it came with 4 character magnets, and I want more releases to come out with stuff like this. And I absolutely love the design they chose to go with on this Black Panther Wakanda Forever duo set, either the Wakandan or the Talokan. I prefer the Talokan. I think Mexifunk knocked this artwork out of the park. And speaking of Mexifunk, he had a lot of great Steelbook releases this year. In fact, he had my favorite one of the year. Let's check it out. One of my favorite movies from last year came out with an amazing Steelbook edition this year from Mantelab. And what I love so much about this release is that every ounce of this Steelbook is just chock full of originality. I'm going to do a close, slow pan of the front and back cover here because, oh my god, you could deep dive into all of the different references from the film here. Flip it over to see the disc is the Everything Bagel. Take the Everything Bagel disc out, and it's where the Everything Bagel is housed in the film. But the main element that gave it the number 1 spot is what's in this envelope. We have all of the movie posters from all the different universes that were being shown throughout this movie. And without even rewatching the film, I could be transported back to some great memories of the movie, and those hot dog fingers in black and white look so sus. And the last cherry on top would have to be the character cards that are included as well. And there you have it. Here are my top 10 Steelbooks of 2023. Man, it was a very solid year. 2024, you have a lot to live up to. But if there are any releases that didn't hit my top 10 that have hit yours, let me know in the comments, because I absolutely love to hear everybody's opinions on an amazing year we had in physical media.